As you know, I had a medical issue this past fall, and so I wasn't able to meet with my partner in person, but luckily she was willing to FaceTime me so we could still do the project and work together and get to know each other a little bit more. I had a little background about her. Her name is Michaela. I actually met her through a club. Before I changed my major, my plan was to go to vet school, and we were both in a pre-vet club. I didn't know her. I just knew kind of her. I knew she was from Canada, Alberta, Canada, and so um, once I switched my major, and then I reached out to her again because I knew we had some similar interests of animals. So, I thought, why not? Yeah, then I kept her informed while I had my surgery and all of that, and then she's back home in Canada right now, so we couldn't meet in person, but we discussed over the phone what the interaction would have been like. We were planning to meet at a coffee shop for the first time, and then we were thinking of um, going apple picking or like carving pumpkins, but that didn't happen. So this first interaction was just talking over the phone, and so we discussed our high school similarities and differences. Um, we okay, so similar in the fact that we start the day singing the national anthem, um, but weirdly, the U.S. is more patriotic. In Canada, they don't have a lot of their Canadian flags everywhere like we do in the U.S. I remember, like in each of my classrooms throughout the years, that we would have our American flag, and then also like outside of the elementary school, middle school, high school building, there's always a flag hanging up. They don't have that. Also, we start school around like 7:30ish here, when they don't start until like 8:39. Um, yeah, so then overall, Canada is a bit more lenient. In America, we have like more of a more security than they do. They get a free period lunch where they can go out and go buy their own lunch at like a Tim Hortons or McDonald's somewhere, where we can't leave the premises. We have to stay in the lunchroom or in the classroom during lunch hours in all periods until classes are over for the day. Um, Also, dress codes. So I went to a public school. I didn't have like uniform. Neither did she. She went to a public school as well. But for our dress codes, we couldn't have like the spaghetti straps. We had to use like the 2 finger rule, along with like pants or shorts length. It has to go like past our fingertips when we put our arms straight down. For them, as long as they're covered, basically, it's fine. Like logos are fine, and there's like spaghetti straps. They can wear those as long as like their stomach is covered and everything. Like hairdo, that's all fine. They can wear hats. We can wear hats. There's no strict dress code. Um, and then they don't have middle schools. Like their elementary is like from kindergarten until 8th grade. Well, my school, I went to one school that was kindergarten to 5th grade, and then middle school 6th to 8th, and then you go to high school 9th to 12th. They just had the primary is what they called it, primary, um, and then high school, which they didn't use the words like freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. They called it just like 9th, 10th, 11th grade. Um, in sports, I was not big into sports, but Americans are big into sports. My brothers all played football. I was big into lacrosse and golf, and I think most of my friends from school played sports. It's kind of odd if you didn't play a sport in America, where she had one brother that played hockey, and she like did some ice skating, like skiing stuff, but not for school, just like as a hobby. Um, but football is really big here where it's not in Canada. Um, what else? Okay, class time. It's pretty similar, maybe a little shorter in the U.S., closer to an hour, where their classes are more like 75-ish minutes long. And then cafeteria. They don't have a cafeteria in elementary school. They had to bring lunches from home when we had like a hot lunch. Um, in elementary school, middle school, and high school, you had the option to. Oh, also standardized testing. There's a lot more of that in the U.S. There's no like SAT, ACT in Canada. She said that they only took like a handful, like 4 or 5 standardized tests, like from the beginning, like kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. They only had to do it about 4 times when we do it. I remember in elementary school we would do standardized tests like almost every year, and then again I took the ACT and the SAT when I was in high school. But they didn't have to do that to get into college. They say it's a lot easier to get into the colleges in Canada, because I don't know, but American colleges are a bit stricter. They like you to stand out with like sports and clubs and having a high GPA, taking AP classes, taking the ACT and SAT. While in Canada, it's kind of just if you do okay in school, then you get in. Our reactions pretty similar to each other. We like overall thought, like school is school, like you learn the same subjects, so it is what it is. Like the US is a bit stricter with dress codes and security testing. Applications for college and sports are a bit different, but like overall, like we had the same experience in a way. Maybe I like attended more school events than she did, but I mean, we both had like a big group of friends and that we would hang out with outside of school and in school, and yeah, we found a lot of similarities rather than differences during school. We also found out that we were raised in the same religion. We're both Catholic. And so we share many of the same religious beliefs, going to church every week and believing in Jesus and God. So that was neat because a lot of my friends from home aren't the same religion. I mean, they're Christian, which is slightly different than Catholic. So, but that was funny that she lives like on the other side of the like above the U.S., the other side of it, and that we're the same religion. Then we talked about food quite a bit. That's weirdly, oddly kind of similar too, but we noticed that like brands are different, like their mac and cheese brand or a lot of brands in general are different. She talked about how popular Tim Hortons is, because they like not only donuts but like sandwiches and like it was like a hot like lunch spot for school time. It's like as popular as McDonald's is here. That's how popular it is. And food portions are smaller there. Americans are like the super size portion. And the biggest food difference was like how popular poutine is, the fries with the gravy and cheese on it in Canada. But it's a little bit more of like a tourist food, rather than what they eat on a daily basis. She said, like, if they eat it, it's like homemade rather than when they go out to eat. It's not something, and it's not something that they eat like on holidays or anything. It's just a typical like food. It's not anything they go crazy about. We are both the same race. We're both Caucasians and grew up in the middle class, and so a lot of our similarities are there with our religion, race, middle class, age. We're both female, and yeah, we have a lot of similarities that I was not expecting, but it was nice. And so, yeah, I thought like although that we lived in different countries, we had a lot of the same beliefs and goals in life. We have a strong faith and that we treasure. We love our like family traditions that we have during the holidays. And we both have strong goals to like have big families of our own in the future. I grew up with 4 other siblings. She just had 1 other sibling, and she talked about how she wanted a bigger family or she wanted to have a lot of kids because she thinks that or she loves her family and the relationships that they have, but she wants to have her kids have the opportunity to have a lot of siblings, and she just enjoys the idea of like them sharing kind of how I have always like shared a bedroom with my sister even though we're 8 years apart. Yeah, I think she thinks that, or we both think that it's just like a good experience to have that in your life. And then, and successful careers. We also have that as goals, which was more similar in the past when we both wanted to be vets. She applied to vet school this fall and is waiting to hear back if she gets in when I changed my major to education to become a teacher. But we both have a big passion for animals and taking care of them and loving them. I'd say the biggest difference about ourselves is school and sports. You know, she didn't play any sports, where sports was a big part of my life and growing up. You know, my brothers all played football, so I'd go to the football games every Friday, and then my brother played at the University of Michigan, so I went to football games on Saturdays. And it's now that she's here at Michigan State, like sports have become a big part of her life too. She enjoys all the tailgating and going to the football and basketball games. But back home, it really wasn't a part of her life, just that her brother played hockey and she would go and support him, but all she really did was like ice skating and skiing, some snowboarding too, a lot of the snow sports, because their summers were still cold. They didn't get a long summertime. But a lot of hiking, like outdoorsy type stuff is what she did, which I did too, but not to the same extent. Like her hiking was like up big mountains, while mine would just be like a trail walking my dog. But we found that, you know, we're very similar people. We just have, I think, our backgrounds are different, but a lot of our interests are the same. And we really enjoyed each other and had a good talk, and I was so happy that she was willing to work with me on this project. And we talked about for our next interaction to make gingerbread houses since we can't like go out and do anything. She mentioned that she hasn't made a gingerbread house in a really long time, so I thought it would be like an easy, fun, good idea, good conversation time to have with her. So yeah, I'm gonna look forward to doing that with her in the next couple days, and we'll see from there.